NFL Exec linked the Atlanta Falcons to Justin Fields in an ESPN article. So we're going to break that down on today's show. Welcome into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, hopefully in complete agreement that Justin Fields is a really good quarterback, because we have talked about Fields on this channel for a long time, okay? And I think that a good chunk of the audience has been in agreement on my side that Fields is a very talented and special quarterback, but I know not everyone has been. And hopefully, after seeing with your own two eyes against the Falcons on Sunday, that Justin Fields is a quarterback that you should want on your team if you're the Atlanta Falcons. So let's get right into it. Here's what Jeremy Fowler wrote in an article on ESPN today regarding Fields, saying one AFC executive sees Atlanta as a good fit for Fields, who he believes would thrive in a system with designed quarterback runs, or one inspired by the Gary Kubiak coaching tree that creates off-play action. Falcons coach Arthur Smith was Tennessee's offensive coordinator during Ryan Tannehill's best stretch as an NFL quarterback. Fields, he's a Falcon. I think he's a Falcon. The only way Justin Fields is not an Atlanta Falcon in 2024 is if the Chicago Bears hold on to him. If he ends up getting traded, I truly believe Atlanta will be the team that is most aggressive in pursuing him, that will give up everything but a first, since their first-round pick right now is a top 10 pick. I do think Justin Fields, if he gets moved, and it'll be so tough for Ryan Poles, the GM of Chicago, just to make a decision, because you've got what appears to be a really good young quarterback in Fields, but then again, you got the first overall pick in a class with Caleb Williams and Drake May that might be too good to pass on. So I do not envy Ryan Poles right now. He is going to have to make a very difficult decision, one that will not be popular with a lot of people. But if he ultimately decides we're going to go draft a quarterback and we're going to trade Justin Fields, Atlanta is going to be the number one destination. Now, I think we all agree that watching Fields against the Falcons on Sunday, everyone should be in agreement that he's a really good quarterback. 268 passing yards, an absolute dot to DJ Moore in the corner of the end zone. But maybe what was more impressive was his escapability, right? The way he was able to get out of sacks, run for first downs, and keep drives alive. He had 2 total touchdowns on the day. Now, Justin Fields, throughout his career, it's been up and down in Chicago, right? His career numbers don't pop off the screen as like, boom, that's the guy I want in Atlanta. That's the guy I want as my franchise quarterback. But Justin Fields, when the highs are there, they are high. Now, he's not just a passer, right? Fields as a rusher, as we all witnessed on Sunday, is one of the best, maybe the best rushing quarterback this league has ever seen. I mean, he broke Michael Vick's single-season rushing record, did he not? And then he's right there with Lamar Jackson. So Fields, Vick, and Lamar, 3 of the best running quarterbacks, Fran Tarkenton, those 4 guys, in my eyes, are the Mount Rushmore of rushing QBs, and Fields is absolutely a part of it. Now, here's where we get the connection of Atlanta to, or what it would cost, I beg your pardon, to get Justin Fields. The consensus is an informal poll of league evaluators is that Fields would be worth a second or third round pick in a pre-draft trade. When compared to former top 10 picks recently traded, that's better than Trey Lance, whom Dallas acquired from San Francisco for a 4th round pick, but slightly worse than Sam Darnold, who, along with a 6th round pick, went from the Jets to Carolina for 2nd and 4th rounders. So we circle back to the trade idea that I continue to put out there because I think it's a relatively fair trade for both sides. Atlanta gets Justin Fields, and the Bears get 2 second-round picks. I know that the article said maybe a 3rd rounder. Fields is going to go for more than a 3rd rounder. The Bears will not accept a 3rd round pick when San Francisco got a 4th for Trey Lance, who was much worse than Justin Fields. So, no. If Sam Darnold goes for a 2nd, Fields is not going for a 3rd. I think 2 second-round picks will get the job done. And I think if you're Chicago, you're happy to get 2 day 2 picks for a pretty good quarterback when you can go draft a new one 1st overall. And for the Falcons, you get potentially your franchise QB, who will be under a rookie contract for the next 2 years for the price of 2 second-round picks. That's a pretty good deal right there if you're the Falcons. That's actually an extremely good deal. So let me know. Would you do this trade? Yes or no? I would do it if I'm Terry Fontenot. And I don't think twice about it. You have nothing going on your current roster right now. It's not going to be Desmond Ridder or Taylor Heineke in 2024. So if you don't want to draft a quarterback in the first round because maybe you don't think that any of the quarterbacks that you like are going to fall to you, and you don't want to reach on a guy, use a second-round pick on a established and proven player that you have tape on, and you have 2 more years of his rookie contract to figure out whether or not you want to extend him long-term. Now, we're going to talk more about Fields, but also we're going to talk about Michael Penix because after watching him in the Sugar Bowl, a lot of teams are going to be interested in the Washington quarterback. But first, I want to give a quick shout-out to our sponsor today, Prize Picks. Now, what is Prize Picks? It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. With quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types, Prize Picks is the #1 daily fantasy sports app. So let me show you my selections for Week 18. C.J. Stroud in what could be a do-or-die game for the Houston Texans. I'm taking the less on his passing yards. I like the more on Drake London and Bijan Robinson, though. I think against the Saints, we're going to see Arthur Smith want to go out on a high note, and he's going to pepper his star players. And then I like the more for Jonathan Taylor, another do-or-die situation, this time for the Colts, at 80.5 rushing yards. I think Indianapolis is going to pound the rock against the Texans' run defense. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. That link is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Now let's talk about what Arthur Smith, unfortunately, has had to endure over his 3 years as the Falcons head coach, and that is below average quarterback play at best. Like, Matt Ryan gave him the best he had, and it was not all that great. Under 4,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. For Matt Ryan standards, we know that that's not, prime Matty Ice. Mariota, bad. Desmond Ridder, bad. Taylor Heineke, worse. I mean, Ridder was, after Ryan, I would say it goes Ridder, Mariota, Heineke. If Desmond Ridder is ranking first out of a 3 QB race under any circumstances, I feel bad for the head coach. I do. And Justin Fields may be Arthur Smith's return ticket. Because if Atlanta wins or loses on Sunday, I don't think that game is really going to ultimately be the deciding factor for Arthur Blank and whether or not he wants to bring back Arthur Smith. But if Arthur Smith goes into Arthur Blank's office and says, listen, I know this was a disappointing year. Year 3, we wanted to take a bigger jump, and we ultimately went from 7 wins to maybe 8 wins, if they win on Sunday. But if Arthur Smith goes in there and says, listen, it's not 100% my fault. I definitely have ownership in this, of course. But if I can get a quarterback like Justin Fields under my offense with Drake London and Bijan and Kyle Pitts, we can be one of the best offenses in the NFC. And Arthur Smith's going to have a pretty good point because look at what he had to deal with quarterback-wise this year, right? Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke, neither guy was able to hold on to the football for very long, constantly turning it over. I mean, there were some nice throws here and there, and I think Ridder is going to go down as probably being an overstated bad quarterback when, in all reality, if he just cut down the turnovers by 25, 30%, this team is probably a 8 or 9 win team right now and getting ready to host a playoff game, but the turnovers killed him. So if Arthur Smith can sell Arthur Blank on, give me Justin Fields, and we are going to be a 9-10 win team in year 1 with JF1 as he comes back to the Peach State, and Arthur Blank buys it, well, that might be Arthur Smith's saving grace. Now, let's say they don't get Justin Fields, right? Maybe the Falcons already have an idea of what the Bears want to do, and that is they want to hold on to Justin Fields. What about drafting Michael Penix Jr.? If you watched the Sugar Bowl yesterday against the Texas Longhorns, there is no way you came out of that thinking Michael Penix is an average quarterback. No, Michael Penix looked like a potential top 10 pick against Texas, right? 430 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was throwing absolute dots all across the field. He was showcasing his arm strength. He was showcasing his accuracy. And not just a game against Oregon State, but against a good Texas defense, right? He was carving up the Longhorns. So if you came out of that game thinking, I want that guy in Atlanta next year, for starters, welcome aboard, because I've been talking about Penix as a sneaky good quarterback and as my subtle selection if Atlanta misses out on Caleb Williams, Drake May, or Jaden Daniels. And right now it's looking pretty good for the Falcons, because when you look at the NFL draft order, the Falcons currently have the number 9th pick. And if you see Caleb Williams go 1, Drake May go 2, Jaden Daniels, I mean, what if the Bears take Caleb Williams? Or what if the Bears take Caleb Williams, let's say, and the Commanders go Drake May, and the Patriots go Jaden Daniels? Cardinals got a quarterback. Giants just paid Daniel Jones. Chargers are set. Titans like Will Levis. Jets have Aaron Rodgers. You might see Michael Penix fall to Atlanta at number 9. So if you look at the current NFL draft order, the Falcons sitting at number 9 right now, they could be in a prime position to get Michael Penix if he truly ends up going top 10. So let me know, if you had to pick between Michael Penix and Justin Fields, who would you rather have? I'm very curious to know which quarterback you prefer, whether it's the rookie, who, by the way, is somewhat sneaky old, and that has to be factored in along with 2 ACL injuries, and there's going to be a lot of medicals done on Penix that might decide whether or not he goes round 1 or not. But let me know, which quarterback would you rather have in the comment section? If I'm picking Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields, as we saw on Sunday, is an extremely athletic quarterback with a very strong arm, and it's hard to get both those things in a quarterback, right? Usually the fast QBs don't have cannons of arms, and the guys with an absolute cannon of an arm don't have the mobility, but Justin Fields has both. He just needs some better coaching, and I think that is sorely lacking in Chicago. He holds on to the ball for a bit too long. He misses some good opportunities down the field, but that is fixed with good coaching. And I think Arthur Smith is a good coach. His team has been a 7-win team, and that's a disappointment, but we ran through the quarterbacks he had so far in 3 years. Give him a good quarterback, and I think Arthur Smith puts out a much better record. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning into Falcons today. If you enjoyed our content, consider subscribing. We'll keep you locked in all season long, as we have a very long but a very important offseason coming up for Atlanta.